Hi all. Today class we are going to discuss a constraints. Okay. In SQL we have constraints, different constraints. We'll see today what are that and what is constraints. Okay. First we'll see what is constraints. Okay. Using constraints, we can apply rules to table columns. Okay. We'll see one by one what are the constraints available and what kind of operations it will do. Okay. The first one is a not null. What is this constraints mean? Not null does not allow null values. Null values mean if you don't provide any values, by default it will take a one value that is called null. Okay. If you don't want to allow these values, what we can do? We can apply one rule or we can apply a constraints on that particular column. Okay. And next one is we can apply these constraints, not null constraints, we can apply more than one column. But example, we have a 10 columns. Okay. If you want to apply these constraints, more than one column also we can do. Okay. Next one is the unique constraints. Okay. What is the unique mean? Unique does not allow duplicate values. But example, employee ID is there. You don't want to allow any duplicate values. Okay, because employee ID always it should be unique, right? Then what we can do? We can apply one rule, okay, on that particular employee ID column. Then what we can do? We can use a unique constraints. Okay, these constraint also we can apply more than one column in a table. Next one is a primary key. What is primary key mean? It's nothing very simple. Okay, it is a combination of both not null and unique. But example, if you want to apply a two rules on a one column, one is a not null and unique. What is your rule? You don't want to allow the null values, along with you don't want to allow the duplicate values. You want to keep a unique values. Okay. Then what we can do? We can go for a primary key. Okay. This constraint we can use. Okay. But this constraint we can use only one column in a table. But example, you have 10 columns in a table, but this primary key we can apply for any one column only. We cannot apply more than one column. Okay. Next one is a foreign key. What is foreign key mean? Foreign key is used to link two tables. But example, you want to create a link between the two tables, right? Then we can use a foreign key constraint. Okay. This foreign key we can apply more than one columns in a table. Okay. And it ensures that the value in one table matches a value in another table primary key. Okay. This we'll see in detailed manner in practical session. Okay. Next one is a check constraint. What is the use of check mean? Check is used to define a condition on a column that must be satisfied before inserting data into a table. Okay. Meaning of this what? You can apply a specified condition on a column. Okay. If that condition satisfied, then only it will allow the inserted data into the table. Okay. This constraint also we can apply more than one column. Okay. This we'll see practically. Okay. Next is the default constraint. Okay. What is the use of default constraint mean? Default constraint, what it will do? It can provide a default value to the column when you don't provide any value while inserting a data. But example, while inserting a data into the table, if you don't provide any value for a particular column, right? Then if you specify this default value, by default, it will take a default value. Okay. This also we can apply more than one table. Okay. Now we'll see practical session. How do we create a constraint on a table? Okay. Okay, this is the queries. Okay, we'll see on the SQL Studio. Okay. Now first one is a not null. We'll see. Okay. Okay. Before starting, let me explain. Okay. In SQL, right, if you want to do any comment, multi-line comment or single line comment, how do you do it? Let me explain you. Okay. For example, if you want to comment a multiple lines, right, what we can do? Multiple line means start, we have to start with a forward slash star. Then after lines, right? But example, here I want to stop the multi-line. Then what we can do? Star, then we have to use a forward slash. Now, this content, okay, this is completely commented. Commented mean which doesn't execute by the SQL engine. Okay, SQL server doesn't execute these lines. Okay. Now, this is the multi-line comment. If you want to do single line comment, right? In the 8th line, you can see. Just we have to use a two minus symbols. Okay. Or we can call it as hyphen also. These symbols we have to use to comment a single line. Okay. But example, if you want to give the any definition to the query, right? Or something, just we have to do comment like this. Okay. You can use hyphen or we can consider it as a minus symbol also. Okay. This is a one thing you have to remember. Next one is, okay, in the SQL queries also, we can store in a file. How do you store me? Let me show you, okay. First, but example, these are all the files you can see left side, unique, primary key, not null, okay. I have created a separate file for each constraint, okay. Like that, if you want to create one file, right, what is your approach? After opening this SQL engine server, right, just to do control N. Then what happen? It will open a new window, okay, where we can develop any queries under. But example here, let me write on simple select query. Now I want to save this file. I have written some query. I want to save this file. What you need to do? For Windows, you have to use a Control S. This is mine is the Mac system. Okay, for you it might show the different windows. Okay, just you have to give that file name. Extension will be .sql. Okay, .sql file name .sql. Then you can decide wherever you want to store. Then click on save. That's all. Okay, now you can see left side here, right? Test.sql file is saved. Like this, you can save your SQL queries and all. Okay, this also you need to do practice. Let me come back to the constraints. First one is a not null, right? We'll see what is not null. Okay. On this background color also, if you want to change, right, you can change here. There is a settings is there, right? Go to settings, themes, color theme. Okay, dark plus I have selected. Like this, you can select the whatever theme you feel convenient. Okay. For Windows, it may be the different. In Mac, it is like this. Okay. Settings, go to settings, then go to the themes. Okay, same option I think available in the Windows also. You can try. Okay, now we'll jump into the constraints. Okay. First one is a not null. How do you apply this constraint to the specified column? We'll see. Okay. Already last class we discussed about how to create a table, how to insert a data into the table, then how to get a data from the table. Okay. Now again, I don't want to write from the scratch. Already I developed a query. Just I will explain and I will execute. Okay. Now, if you want to apply any constraints, what is the approach? Let me explain from starting. Create table name of mean we have to open a parenthesis. Then we have to define a column name with the data type. Okay. This is employee ID. Next is employee name. Varchar. I need to define a character length also. I given 100. Okay. Next, if you want to apply any constraint, what is your approach? You can give the constraint name like this, not null. That's mean this not null we are applying to the employee name column. Okay, what we are doing, we are applying a not null constraint on the employee name column. Okay, then what we can do, you can execute this query. Okay, now if you want to execute only particular query among all this, you need to select this query, then click on the run. Okay, now table is created successfully. Okay, if you want to see the table data, what is the approach? Select star from table name. This semicolon is optional. You can use or you can ignore. Okay. Usually in the end of the query statement, we use a semicolon. Okay. This is optional. Now, star mean what? Let me explain. Okay. Star mean it will show all the columns in a table. Now let me run this query. We have to select this query. Click on run. Okay. Now table is created with two columns, employee ID and employee name. Okay, which doesn't contains any value. Now I am trying to insert. Okay. Let me explain insert query. Okay. Insert into table name of, we have to define the columns. What are the columns you are going to insert the values? Here we have two columns, right? This is you can use small or capital, no issue, but let me change into small only to avoid the confusion. Okay, we have two columns in a table, two I defined. Then we have to give the values. Then I'm giving the values like this. Employee ID I given a 1 and employee name I have given as a null value. Now let me run and see what happens. Now you can see it is throwing the error. Okay, it's thrown error. What is the error? Cannot insert the value null into column employee name. It is throwing the error. Okay, why? You cannot able to insert a null value on this column. Okay, because we have given a constraint for this column. What is constraint? Not null. Okay, constraint mean what? That there is a rule. What is the rule? Which doesn't allow the not null. But you are trying to insert a null value. That's why it is throwing the error. Okay. Apart from the null, if you give any value, it will take. Now you can see I'm giving another value. Now I'm going to try to insert. Now you can see query executed successfully. No error. Here you can see. Now let me print a table data. Now you can see it is inserted. Okay. This is the use of the not null constraint. Okay. Let me explain one more time what it will do. Not null constraint, what it will do? It will apply the rule on a column. What is the rule it will apply? It doesn't allow the null value. That is only the rule. Okay. Apart from the not null, apart from the null value, anything it will allow. Okay. Now if you want to delete a table, okay, now I have done all the operation on the table. I don't want to keep in the database, right? Then if you want to delete, what is the approach? Drop table name. Okay. Now let me run it. Okay. Now table is deleted successfully. Okay. Now, if you try to access this table, it will throw error. You can see invalid object name employee. That's mean it could not able to find this table in a DB because we have deleted. Okay. This is about a not null constraints. Okay. Now, next one is what? Unique. Unique constraints, we'll see. Okay. Already I explained what is unique mean. Unique constraints, it doesn't allow the duplicate values. But example, same value, if you try to insert again, right, it will throw error. Okay. How do you create a table with the unique? I will show you. Okay. It's very simple. Unique, very simple. Okay. Create table name. employee ID. I want to make employee ID as a unique because employee name may contain a duplicate value. Okay, we can see the different employees with same name, but employee ID should be unique. That's why I don't want to allow the duplicate values in a employee ID column. Then what is your approach? You can go for a unique. Okay. Now I'm creating a table employee ID as a unique constraint. Let me create. Okay. Now I'm going to insert into here also. Let me change the definition. To insert a value into table. Okay. Insert into table name, employee ID, employee name. This also let me change it to small case. Even if you give uppercase also, it will work. Okay. Values I'm giving a 1 and employee name I'm giving as a okay. Before inserting, let me print the table. We'll see what are the data available in a table. Okay, nothing is there. Now I'm trying to insert a new data. Okay, it is inserted successfully. Okay, now let me print a table. Okay, now we have one row in a table. Employee ID, employee name. Employee ID is a 1, employee name is a Kumar. Okay, now again I'm trying to insert a same value in a, as a employee ID. Okay, employee ID, again I'm going to insert a same ID, one already there, but I'm trying to insert. Okay, let's see what happened. Okay, now you can see we got error. What is error mean? Violation on unique key constraint. Okay, cannot insert duplicate key in a object employee. The duplicate key value. Okay, what is error mean? Duplicate error. Why it is coming mean? Usually employee ID, right? We have given as a unique constraint for employee ID column. If you try to insert a duplicate value, then what happened? It will throw this error because that is the rule we applied by using a constraint. Let me print a table. See, already employee ID 1 is there. If you try again same, it will throw error. Okay, that is the advantage of the unique constraints. Okay, now let me delete table. Okay, that's it. Now next to constraint is the primary key. We'll see primary key. Okay, what is primary key? Already you know, right? Okay, primary key is a combination of not null and unique constraints. Okay, if you want to apply these two conditions in a single column, then we will go for a primary key. How do you apply? Mean it's very simple. Create table name, column. Then we have to specify the data type of the column. Then we can give the constraint name. Here you want to apply a primary key, right? Then I have given a primary key constraints. Okay. For employee name, I have not given any constraints. Okay. If you want, you can give, but now we'll practice only primary key. Okay. Let me create a table with the primary key. Now table is created. Okay. Now let me print the table data. Okay. Employed. Okay. Let me explain this select query also here. Okay. Usually if you give star, what happen? It will show the all the columns in a table. Okay. But I want to see only employee ID. Then what you can do? You can give that specified column name for employee ID. Then it will print only employee ID column. You can see. If you want to print one more column also, you can give comma. Then you can give the employee underscore name. Okay. These also you need to practice. Okay. Okay, now what is the constraint we applied on employee ID? Primary key. Primary key mean which should not allow the null value. Okay. Now let me try how it will work if I give the null value. Okay, now you can see insert into table, employee ID, employee name, values. Values will be, I'm giving the null as a employee ID. Now let me run and see what happened. See, it is throwing the error. Okay, because we applied a primary key constraint which does not allow the null value. Now we'll see the unique value also. Okay, now I'm giving the 1. Okay, 1 mean it has to allow to insert. Okay, now it is inserted successfully. Okay, because that is a valid value. Now let me print a table values. You can see 1 is inserted. Okay, if it is null mean it doesn't allow. Okay, now again I'm trying to insert a same 1. Okay, now let's see what happens. Again it is throwing error because primary key is a combination of not null along with the unique. Okay, now 1 is already there. Let me print and show you. In a table employee ID column already 1 value is there. Again if you try to insert the same value, it will be duplicate, right? That's why it doesn't allow the duplicate value. Okay, that is the advantage of the primary key. It's very simple. It is just a combination of both not null and unique. Okay, okay, now let me delete a table before doing a operation on next constraint. Okay, next one is a foreign key. It is very important and it is a little bit tricky. Be focused on this constraint. Okay, okay, we'll go slowly. No need to worry and no need to hurry also. Okay, okay, what is foreign key mean? Which is used to make a relation between the two tables. This already we got to know. Okay, now while going to implementing this foreign key, right? Let me show you one example. Okay, but example we have, I want to make a relation between the two tables. Okay, but example we have a department table. One is a employee table. Okay, there are some rules we have to follow before making a relation between the two tables by using a foreign key. What is the rule mean? Let me explain you. Okay, but example department and employee, there are two tables. I want to make a relation between the two tables. What is the purpose of making a relation between the two tables mean? Okay, by making this relation, what we can do, we can get a data from a more than one table at a time. Okay, it is single query. But example, we have two tables. One will represent a department details. One will represent a employer details. Okay, now what is my requirement is I want to get a employee name along with the his department name. Both I want to get. Okay, that is my requirement. We have two tables, one for two. One will represent a department, one will represent a employer details. Okay, now what is my requirement? I want to get a employee name with the department. Then what we need to do, we have to get a department name from a department table. We have to get a employee name from a employee table. Okay, then foreign key will come into picture. Okay, but while working on foreign key, we have to follow some rules. Let me explain what are the rules. Okay, okay, let me show you here. I given a note also. There is a note. Okay, always create the reference table first in SQL. Okay, but example, you are going to create a two tables, then you want to create a relation. Then what you need to, first you need to create a reference table. Okay, here reference table, it will, we can consider as a department. Okay, department table we are referring. Okay, then here we are referring one table to another table, mean we have to follow the parent and child concept. Okay, parent table is here department. Whatever you are going to create first, right, that is a department which has primary key. Okay, the parent column should contain a primary key and child table. Okay, child table contains a foreign key. Parent table contains a primary key, child table contains a foreign key. Okay. First, you have to create the parent table, okay, which contains a primary key. Okay, then only you can understand this concept clearly. Okay. Okay. Now here parent table is department, which contains a primary key. Child table employee, which contains a foreign key. Okay. If you want to make a relation between these two tables, right, we should create a one common column. But example here, department ID is a common column in the department table, and employee table also we should create a same department ID, okay, with the same data type. Okay, one we have to make as a primary key, other we have to make as a foreign key. Okay, now we'll see practically. Okay. Okay, first we have to create a parent table, right? That's mean referred to table. Okay, what we are going to refer. Okay, create table, table name. This is department table, department ID int. Okay, it is a primary key. We have to make that column as a primary key, which contains a department name. I have given a data type as a varchar 50 length. Let me create it. Okay, now the table is created successfully. Okay, after creating, what we need to do, we have to insert the data into the parent table. Okay, what is the procedure of insert? Insert into table name. That columns we have to specify, then we have to give the values. Okay, usually if you want to insert a single row at a time, we can say give a single set of values. But example, I want to insert at a time 3 rows. Then what you need to do, we have to give a 3 set of data like this. Okay, earlier how we have given, right, you can see here single set of data we have given. The semicolon is optional, which will indicate a, if you give semicolon mean that query is ended, like that we can consider. Okay, now if you want to insert a multiple rows at a time, this is the approach. Now let me insert at a time 3 rows. Okay, this department table, I'm going to insert a 3 departments. One is IT, other one is HR, other one is a sales department. The IDs also I have presented 1 to 3 like that. Okay. Now let me print how the values are created in a department table. You can see department ID, department name. Okay. Now next approach is what? Again, we have to create one more table, employee table. Okay. What is the procedure? Let me explain. Create table, table name. This table contains the employee ID as into data type, employee name, department ID. Okay. These 3 columns you have. If you want to make a relation between the 2 tables, we have to use a foreign key, right? This is the child table you can consider. Here we are referring the parent table. Okay, how we can refer me? Let me explain. Foreign key. This is the constraint. Then we can give a that foreign key column inside a parenthesis. Okay, department ID. Then references. That's mean we are referring a one table, right? We can consider that is as a parent. We are referring the one table that is called department table. Then what is the column? Okay, always we have to refer the primary key column only. Okay, if you see here, right, department ID is the primary key. Okay, if it's not the primary key, we cannot make a relation between the 2 tables. It's mandatory. Okay, references, department is a table. This is the column. Okay, we are referring the employee department ID column with the department ID column. Okay, this is the syntax. Okay. Okay, now let me create this table. Now you can see table is created successfully. Okay, this is a child table. Be clear on that. Okay. Now again, what we need to do, we have to insert some values into this employee table. This is same again here, insert table into table name. The columns we have to specify. We have 3 columns. Then values. If you want to insert a multiple rows at a time, we have to define a set of data like this. Okay. Now here what I am doing, I am inserting employee. 4 employees are there. Okay, these are the department ID. That's mean we can have the same department, multiple employers, right? Here Balu and Kumar, both are belongs to department 1. That's mean IT. Okay, like that we can create. Now let me insert the values. Okay, values inserted. Then let me print what all the values are available in this employee table. I can see this is the table, employee ID, employee name, department ID. But if you see here, right, in the employee, we can see the department ID, but I want to see the department name also. Okay, then what we need to do? Then we have to write a query like below. This is the query we have to write. Okay, because already we have created a relation between these two tables. Now we can access the data from a 2 tables in a single query. How do you access me? Let me explain. Okay, select. Okay, this is the table name, employee table dot employee name, because inside a employee table only we have a employee name. Then comma, then department. If we need a, what is the requirement? We need a employee name along with the department. Then what we need to do? Employee table dot employee name, department table dot department name from. From mean, then we have to mention a specified table. Employee table along with the department table. Both tables we have to give. Then we have to give a condition also. What is the condition? Where employee department ID equals to department ID. Okay, wherever that both are same, then it will return the values. Now select this query and click on run. Now you can see very clearly. Okay, Balu. What is the Balu? Employee, the name is Balu. His department name is IT. Okay, Ramesh. Ramesh department is HR. Kumar department is IT. Okay, Rama department is sales. Okay, if you want to see the employee department ID also, right, then what we can do? Department dot department. Now let me run it. Okay, you can see department. See, wherever IT is there, right, that IT department ID is 1. In the Kumar also you can see 1. Okay, like this we can get a data from the more than one table by using a foreign key. Okay, this is very important. You have to do practice very clearly and very carefully. Before that, you have to understanding. Okay, what is parent, what is child table. Okay, what is a reference table, like that. Okay, according that, if you create, it will be very clear. Otherwise, you have to struggle a lot to understand this concept. Okay, okay, that's all about a foreign key. Okay, now next one is a check check constraint is there, right? We'll see that. Okay, what is the check constraints mean? Using the check constraint, what we can do, we can give a condition to the column. Okay, but example, there is a one column. Okay, I want to allow only the uh, integer values. Okay, or I want my employee name should contain the minimum 6 characters, then only I want to allow. Okay, or the age should be, but example, age column is there, I want to allow the age more than 18. Okay, I don't want to allow the below 18 or equal 18 also. Okay, that kind of any requirement is there, then we can go for a check. Now we'll see how we can apply the check constraint in a for a column. Okay, now you can see create table, table name. Okay, here I'm creating the employee ID as a integer data type. and employee name. Now age is there. Here I am applying the check constraints. Okay. How do you apply mean? Column, then we have to specify the data type, then we have to give the constraints as a check. Then inside a parenthesis, you have to give a condition. What is the condition I'm giving? Age greater than 18. That's mean if the age is greater than 18, the value, whatever we are going to insert into age column, right? If the value is greater than 18, mean then only it will allow. Otherwise, it will throw error. Okay, that is the rule, that is the condition we have applied on the age column by using a check constraint. Okay, next, same constraint, okay, we can apply through the name also. Okay, we can give some name also, but example in the 11th line you can see constraint. Okay, if you want to define explicitly with the name, okay, this is the constraint name. What is the name I'm given? Check employee name length. Okay, sometimes if you give like this, right, someone it may be the confusion someone to understand. Okay, to avoid that confusion, to understand everyone, if you want to specify some description in the name, right, name itself you can specify as a understandable description, right, then it's easy to understand everyone. Okay, for that what you can do, like this constraint, then you can give the name. What is this constraint name? Check employee name length. Okay, then others also can understand. Then we have to give the check. Then it's inside a parenthesis, we have to give the condition. Here, what is the condition? Length. Length is a predefined function in SQL, okay, which will get a length of given employee name. But example, if we insert a 5 characters, it will return the 5 as a length value. This length, it will return a 5. If we insert 10 characters, it will return a 10 characters. That's mean 10 it will return. Okay. If the what happen if you insert any value, it will check the length of that one. If the length is greater than 6, then only it will allow to insert a value into employee name column. That's mean we have applied the two constraint in this table for two columns. Okay. Now let me run this one. Before that, let me drop delete a table. Drop table name. Now table deleted successfully. Now let me recreate with the check constraint. Okay, now table is created. Now what I'm doing, I'm going to insert a value. Okay, insert into employee values. Okay, now if you see, I have not specified a column names. Okay, for example, if you see here, while inserting, right, any table, I have specified a columns here. Okay, sometimes that is also fine. If you specify column names, then also you can insert. Or if you are going to insert, give a values to all the columns, then we can skip that to specifying a columns part. Values, then we can, if you are going to provide all the values, but example, we have three columns. If you provide values for 3 columns, then we can ignore that part. Okay, this also you do practice. Okay. Now what I'm doing, I'm giving you one as employee ID, employee name Kumar123, then age is the 19. Okay. Now let me run. What happened? It is inserted value successfully. Now let me print. Okay, now it is fine. Now what I'm going to do here, right, in the age column, I'm going to give 60. Age column, I'm going to 60. Now let's see what happened. Usually, what is the check we have applied for age column? Age should be greater than 18, but it is less than 18. Now let's see what happened. You can see the insert statement conflicted with the check constraint. Okay, it is clearly throwing the error. Okay, there is a check constraint. It is throwing the conflict. Okay, column is age. You can see. Okay. Now let me change it to 19. Now, if you see the name is there, right? Second column. What constraint we applied for name? It should be 6. It should be greater than 6. But let me give the 5 characters only. If you see Kumar is a 5 characters, we'll see what happen. Again, it is throwing the error. You can see clearly here the column employee name. Same constraint we have. Okay. If you greater than 6 characters, Ramesh 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now it will all. Okay. Here also let me give 22 as a age. See, now it is executed successfully. Now let me print it. See. Okay. It's very simple. Okay. We have applied the check constraint on 2 columns. One is employee name, age. What is the condition we given? Age should be greater than 18, the value, and employee name should contain at least 7 characters. That means more than 6 characters, then only it will allow. Okay. Now let me delete this table. Okay. Now we have final constraint, that is a default. Okay, default constraint, what it will do, if you don't provide a values after creating a table, if you don't provide any value for a particular column, right? If you give any default, if you specify the default value for that column, what happen? If you don't provide, it will take a default value. But example, let me explain you. Here I'm going to create a table with the default constraint. Okay, the table contains a 4 columns: employee ID, employee name, country, joining date. Here I am applying the default value for a country and joining date. How do you apply? Mean very simple. Country, column name, data type, then default we have to give like this. For country default value, I have given India. If you don't provide any value for this country, by default it will take a India. Okay. Next is a joining date. Okay, I given a data type as a date. Default I given a get time. This is a predefined function in SQL. What happened? It will get a current time. Okay, if you don't provide any date, right, by default it will take the current date and it will insert. Okay, now we'll see what happened. Now I created a table. It is there already. Okay, I think so. Sorry, get date, not time actually. Let me create. Now it is created a table. Now what I'm doing, let me print a table. Okay, no values are there, you can see. Now what I'm doing, I'm inserting a values for only employee ID and employee name. I am not going to insert a country and joining date. Then what is your approach mean? You can see here clearly. Insert into table. Then we have to specify the columns. What are the columns you are going to insert the values? Now I'm going to insert into employee ID and employee name. Okay. Then values 1. The employee ID I given a 1. Employee name as a Kumar. Let me run it. Now executed successfully. We have inserted values successfully into table. Here you can see very clearly I have not given any values for country and joining date. Now let me print the table. We'll see what data it's contain. You can see employee is 1, which I have given. Employee name Kumar, country India. I have not given, but it has taken itself because we defined here very clearly. If you don't provide, take default value India. On joining date also I have not given. By default it has taken. Okay. Usually what happen, if you don't provide, it will take a null value. Okay. Apart from null value, if you want to provide any default value, by using the default constraint, we can provide the default value. Okay. Hope you understood very clearly all this constraint. Okay. That's all about a constraint. These are all the very important. You just go through this video. Okay. I will provide this queries along with the definitions in a description, in the YouTube description also. You can go through it. Okay. Okay. That's all. Okay. Bye.